The crypto space is making massive moves yet again today. Not really in terms of news, but we saw Bitcoin and Ethereum, a matter of fact, almost every single altcoin price drop by some significant numbers. I mean, Bitcoin went below $60,000 and Ethereum went below $3,300, even though supposedly this is the week where everything changes for Ethereum. And I mean, other altcoins hopefully slightly afterwards with the Solana ETFs, etc. But this is supposedly the week where the Ethereum ETFs come along. And so from that perspective, it is quite odd for the Ethereum price to lose this much, and all I can blame it on is that perhaps it's more and more of an institutional-based move than we realize. And what I mean with that is, if we're just taking a look at some of the most recent days, they've been quite bullish. Well, matter of fact, before that, we mostly seen bearish action, right? Why is that? So basically, dumps from June 14th to June 24th here, just everyday crazy outflows. But the last couple of days, yes, there have been some slight outflows here and there. And even though BlackRock still is not significantly buying, it was a net positive. And perhaps this, again, we'll see tomorrow, is where we have another crazy negative day, which to then, or I guess at that point to me, would showcase that perhaps there's more to this in terms of the institutional flow than we realize. Oh, well, I guess we just got ourselves some breaking news. So just in, we've got another amended S1 from Bitwise for their Ethereum ETF. Expect more from other issuers throughout the rest of the week. We're thinking these things could potentially list later next week or the week of the 15th at this point. And then I guess DB also shared Bloomberg's 𝗂𝗂 thinks that the ETF is kind of delayed all the way towards the 15th or something along those lines, which is interesting. I wonder how the Ethereum price actually is reacting on this. As of this point, it seems as if, everything is actually falling because of this announcement, but I am not too sure. We'll have to dive a little bit deeper and see how it's fared over the past few minutes, I'm going to say that it kind of looks, let's see if I refresh this now. It's been 13 minutes. You see, this is, many people don't realize how long it sometimes takes me to cover these things. So roughly the 10th minute it came out. And so the price of Ethereum actually dropped almost 2%, 1.7% here since that announcement came out. And this, ladies and gentlemen, in my humble opinion also, is where you can very often make yourself a juicy profit because it is oversold. That does not indicate that prices won't go lower over the next few hours, but you see, when the price goes down like 2% in a few minutes here based on one guy's announcement, very often that is just plain fear and is not necessarily actually backed up. I mean, Bitcoin as it stands right now also went down how much? This is way too early. It was right there. Bitcoin also went down roughly 0.7%, so almost $500 over the past 15 minutes or so after this announcement came out. As you can see here, this was 11:09. And this starting candle is what? I'm going to say this is 11 or 9 in this case here. 11, yeah, it is quite peculiar. Before I actually move on, there's something pretty cool going on over at Bybit. If you did not know, for the Euro Cup, they actually have a pretty cool event that's called the Crypto Cup with some pretty amazing prices, and I'll leave a link down below, of course. I should have said this a bit earlier that it exists, but honestly, I didn't know. But apparently, predict the winners and win 1 point for each correct prediction and multiple different things. Like, for example, the more you trade, the more you get. They always want to do these cool events around real world events, and it's always just worth joining because what if you get something, right? Very often, it doesn't cost you any extra money. It's just you trading normally, but now getting some extra rewards. Yeah, just check it out. The link is down below. And again, the whole idea being you have to get tickets from doing these certain tasks, and then you can use those tickets to go ahead and put your predictions in on the match. And the more you're right, so the more tickets you've got and the more you put in for the right answer, the more chance you get to win different things. And again, it's not like you're too late to start because every single round is a different price pool, so to speak. So you just check it out. There's other different rewards that will probably still be worth it regardless of when you start. Just check it out, links down below. And that brings me to the point that I was trying to make at the start of the video. People are high in their emotions right now. It's almost everything that I'm seeing. People making choices not based on the next few months. They're making choices based on what they're seeing right now today. And that's sometimes quite scary. let's look back and realize, hey, we've got ourselves these ETFs for Ethereum coming up, and they're changing the last little details, but it's coming. I don't really, honest truth be told, get why anybody would think about selling at these prices. I don't really fully get it. Is there a chance you guys think that the Ethereum ETFs won't have a similar effect as with Bitcoin, and so in this instance, prices actually just keep moving down? I'll make another video talking more about whether or not we're in a bull or bear market, but personally, I think people are way overselling the whole delay or Mt. Gox dump events. And when looking at the numbers, we crunched these out yesterday as well. I personally think all we're gearing up for is just the Q4. Like Q3 is usually, I'm going to say, quite neutral, not as decisive. Every other quarter is actually better, is the worst quarter. However, if you just extrapolate a bit and think a few months into the future, man, Q4 is literally the best in every way, shape, or form. And that's obviously what's next up and what's coming for us. Also, right now, as we speak, we have actually not traded outside of the range either. And this is kind of what we were describing a little bit ago as to what would happen to Bitcoin most likely, as we're now basically making a choice for ourselves. Anyway, prices right now, as I said, are still within the range. We're still just making a choice. But overall, when zooming out, it still looks beautiful. The trend still looks extremely solid. And yes, we actually dabbled above the all-time high prices for the first time ever. But usually, as I stated, it takes another few months before we breach the all-time high. It is expected to happen around the end of the year. I'm going to say around November or so. This is just extrapolating what happened in these previous instances. And so if you're asking me, are we in a bull or a bear market? I will still answer the same thing. We're in a bull market, but we just went a bit crazier, probably because of the ETFs, than how fast we usually go. And so we have a little bit more of a correction to go, and what we're witnessing right now, than we usually have. Usually it's slightly more just upwards only from the halving on forward. But even that is partially debatable, because if we look at it, right, this is slightly before the halving. Afterwards, it came down like 33%. After reaching the all-time high, it came down, what, 38%. And here as well, you can see right there, we hit some price. We went down roughly 30% as well. And right now, how much are we down from the all-time highs? Let's quickly check this out. We are down roughly 22%. So even if we went down slightly more from here, it would not be that much different than what we saw in these previous cycles. And realistically here, whatever's happening is not that strange. When would I get scared? Probably the day we get like a 2021 type of candle. So the day we see prices go down by 50, 70, 80% in a day. Yes, it's happened before. Yes, it'll probably happen again somewhere in the bear market. And you know what's funny? People often think, oh, but if you're down 80%, that's about it, right? No, you see, the problem with 80% drops is that many people lose their faith, and so the price drops 80% again from that 80% drop. Theoretically speaking, you can go down minus 80% every day for a long time before you're at absolute zero, because, you know, decreasing a number, I should say, by 80%, yeah, you can keep going for a while, especially if the crypto has a lot of digits. If you think back about Luna, a lot of people thought minus 99% would be the end. But then it did again, another minus 99% from that level. Little side note, I am keeping myself up to date with the Ripple lawsuit every single day whenever something happens. But the problem is, most of these updates nowadays are not worthy of making an entire video over. And I think by now, most people understand my thoughts when it comes to XRP. I've not sold, I'm still holding on, but I'm not necessarily buying that much more. Then again, when I look at some of these updates, I do realize this is such a shady game, let's call it. And it feels like with all these other crypto cases making their way into this lawsuit, it kind of will keep going on forever, which is bad, sad, but it's a harsh truth. Sherry said, translation, Ripple, this is the SEC side, but Ripple took a single page out of a multiple page document, their motion to dismiss in the Binance case, which we don't agree with. Ripple arguing they weren't intentionally reckless is nonsense and they need to pay a lot. Again, if you don't remember, right now, all we're talking about in the Ripple case is how much exactly does Ripple have to pay? A little side note as well, by the way, with regards to Tau, there's a lot of fear around because they had some sort of hack occur yesterday. I'd say the community is actually not bad about it. I mean, people have actually been quite okay keeping the vibes positive, but when they take a look at the monthly performance, or even the, I'm gonna say, 3-month or so performance, oh, AI coins have really not done that well, huh? Tau, for example, is down from $750 to $250, let's call it. And even though still over the year it's up quite a lot, it's down like what, 66, 70% or so? Yeah, I think it's down like 68%. And it makes you realize two things. One, man, sometimes you got to learn to sell the top. That's for sure. But most importantly, actually, if you look back at the prices back in October, or even in July of last year, but I specifically meant back in October, you see how it did more than a 15x or so in this time span of just a few months. Many people think, oh, yeah, but this won't happen to large cryptos. This one did that. You see how Tau also went from, let's just say, $300 million to what? Almost 5 or so billion at the top. And that was when AI coins were hot, sure, but we're not in peak bull market just quite yet. I personally believe as we get to peak bull market, crazier times, that the numbers we'll be seeing on these coins will be even way crazier. And so whenever you think of what gains are possible, well, it's a matter of being able to wait it out. That's the difficult part. But ultimately, I think the gains will be way crazier than many people do realize. Yeah, those are my thoughts right now. Oh, and another little side note is Fetch, Ocean, and SingularityNet also mixed together into FET, a new one, the Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance. If you're wondering where your coins have gone, that might have been swapped over, or you might need to do something for it. The price definitely has not taken that too positively. There probably was some interesting arbitrage opportunity with it as well, which is why prices are down even more. I'm just thinking that's the case. Perhaps though it's just because the price needs to adjust of the other tokens, or is the team members of some of the other ones dumping in some crazy way that we don't even know just quite yet. It's interesting. Just wanted to quickly bring that up. But yeah, that's about it for right now. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed the video. Make sure you press that like button, and that's it.